it's Heather Campbell, and I'm here to share my real agency insider strategies so savvy and scrappy startups can do what the pros do. And today I'm going to talk about a question called, what keeps you up at night? Because I was talking with a friend of mine who's in the beginning stages of building her business, and she was meeting with a few potential, people who represent her most valuable customer, which is an awesome best practice. And one of the things that we know on the agency side is that you're trying to really understand and create a really, really good problem statement by understanding just sort of the general, what's the mindset of your customer, what's going on in their life, what triggers them into the market to take action, just the whole nine, right? So we know we want to create these problem statements because something else that we know on the agency side is that God bless customers, but they're not very great at articulating their emotions and what was going on in their life sort of authentically and on the fly without a little bit of structure. So my friend was saying that she was meeting with somebody and she asked them, what keeps you up at night? And this woman said, nothing. I sleep like a baby. And my friend was like, oh crap, wait. And since the whole interview fell apart because everything else was sort of geared on understanding this problem and then trying to dig in to this problem, also falling into a little bit of a trap of trying to come up with features and solutions without understanding really these problems. And so if you remember, consumers, God love them, aren't really great about communicating that on the fly without a little bit of guidance. So what I would suggest, instead of asking what keeps you up at night, because that question does keep me up at night, because it's, first of all, very, very broad. So from a marketing perspective, it's hard for me to lock and load on the information because I might get some good nuggets in there, but there are better ways to ask questions that actually give me marketing insight that make it easier for me to see that next logical step. Number two, it really focuses people on a problem, and in the, hey, Raphael, how's it going? All the way from Germany. I'm just so happy to see you. But it focuses people on the problem, and sometimes because it is such a broad question, people sometimes feel like, oh no, I need to come up with a problem. So I loved that my friend's interviewee said, I sleep fine at night, as opposed to trying to come up with something, because then I'm thinking, is it really real? And again, I'm trying to figure out what that problem statement is, so I'm not falling in and trying to figure out and solve problems before I really understand a complete view of my customer and really what's going on in their life, and then match it to how my product or service is the perfect solution. So again, instead of asking the one question, what keeps you up at night, I'm going to encourage you to ask a different question to start off with, and then a different series of questions that help to be clear and help to tie your customer's answer to the actual idea of purchasing and being in the marketplace and shopping, again, for products and services. Because from a marketing perspective, we want to understand what is the transaction path and what's getting in the way of people buying, or what can we do along that transaction path to facilitate people along the journey to that transaction. So the number one question I would like for you to make sure that you ask before you meet with anybody is, what do I need to know for my business in order to take that next step forward? So you might need ideas for, a lead magnet. You might be doing emails and you want to understand how people, use emails to get information or connect to a blog. You might just want to let people know that you're generally out there, so you just want to make sure that you're very clear on what you need to know. And then you're going to start to be able to frame up these questions a little bit better. Let's say you don't know what kind of language to use on your website or how people explain their problems. We really want to always use the language that our customers use so they see themselves in our copy. And so be clear about what you need to know. And then instead of what keeps you up at night, I like to get people thinking about, have you ever think about have you ever worked with anyone like me before? So let's say that you are someone, I'll use Raphael as an example. He does search engine optimization on smart speakers, so total wave of the future. But so he would maybe meet with marketers or agencies, and he could ask a question like, Have you, what has been your experience with SEO and working with SEO providers? Have you ever thought that there's, a different way of, approaching it, right? So, and when you think about working with someone like me who maybe can show you a different way, with the question I like to ask is like, what does your life look like? Like, what does success look like to you? Because then you're able to sort of orient people on what their desired transformation is. This is gold, right? Because then you're able to get them to talk about what their future life looks like without any baggage, without any rearview mirror look back to where they were, keeping them completely focused on that. And then you could dig in a little bit like, okay, so knowing that that's what you want your goals to be, have you ever worked with anyone like me before? And then what was your experience like? What was going on? Oh, my husband's calling me. He better have gotten Pearl Jam tickets. I'm just telling you, Pearl Jam's coming to Denver, and we are very hot to trot for tickets right now. So, so then when you think of, so if someone has purchased and purchased something similar, oh, switching from a search to an answer engine. Oh, that's so interesting. God, that's going to have to be a whole other Facebook Live, Raphael. So, and then when someone's coming into the market, I really like to understand what's going on in their life, right? So in Raphael's case, what's going on in someone's business that's bringing them into the market? If you're a personal trainer, what's going on in someone's life right now? I help startups. So what's going on in your life right now that is bringing you into the market? And then what is the one thing that triggered you to action? Oh my gosh, this is one, so write this down. What is the one thing that triggered you to action? This is something that is so key, because all of the thoughts, the feelings, the hopes, the dreams, the obstacles, all of those happen before your customer even comes into the marketplace. So when you understand what is the one thing, the pain point, the point where they were like, this is enough, I'm now in the marketplace, what brought you into action? And then if you purchased, what were your expectations? Like even just coming into the market, what were your expectations? And then what was your ultimate experience? And if you purchased, what are your expectations going into that? And then what was the ultimate experience? Sometimes people work with, consultants and they have a great experience, and sometimes they don't have a great experience. So they can be really gun shy coming back into the market if it hasn't been that great. If it's been really great, sometimes they get really attached to that initial consultant. So there are just some interesting things that you can, I'm just thinking like this starts to give you things that you can lock and load on from a marketing perspective. You can ask them, where are they now? After they purchased, maybe they tried or maybe they haven't tried. What's happening now in their life? And if you could change anything, this is really powerful after a purchase or experience. If you ask them, where are they now? Because, a lot of people sometimes really stick with the program or something and it's really hot and heavy, and then they end up sort of petering out and going back to business as usual. Or maybe they're really, they've gone and they're at that level and now they're ready for the next level, right? So you really want to understand where are they now, because you want to understand where can they go with you and what solution, how are you the solution to this problem? A good question to ask, and I'm so sorry I got a little bit ahead of myself. This is really fantastic, especially after purchase or someone has an experience with someone in a similar industry. If you could change anything about your experience, what would that be? Right? Because then you're starting to understand what are the gaps in the process, what are the opportunities, how did maybe someone do something that was different and you're like, oh, wait, I come at this from a completely different angle. So that also gives you a lot to work with. And then the last one is, if you could rewrite the way things must be in this line of work, right? And SEO optimization for smart speakers, and in marketing and startup consulting, and in yoga, in organic skincare, whatever it is, it's like if you could really just say, I could rewrite the rules of how this industry works, what would that be? You're then getting people focused again on the aspirations and again, what could be. So just rolling through those questions as opposed to what keeps you up at night, fairly broad. Think about, what does your life look like? You're getting someone focused on the transformation. Have you ever worked with anyone like me before? You're starting to get them to think about a purchase and what that actual business and transaction relationship looks like. What was going on in your life helps you understand obstacles and where they are, and sort of their aspirations and what they hope to be, and then what brought you into the market, that trigger point. What is that pain point that finally pushed them over the edge to start shopping for a solution? Understanding what were their expectations going in, and then what was their actual experience? Was it positive, negative? You can start to see how you can start to fill in the gaps with your product or service. Where are you now as a result of this experience with this product or service? Helps you understand, are there gaps in that initial product and service? Is there an opportunity to pick up where that person left off? If you could change anything about the experience, what would it be? You're helping to understand how can you innovate, where were that person's gaps in the experience? Again, how can you provide the solution? And then if you could rewrite the rules, you're really starting to get people to think big picture. And you'll notice that instead of thinking about the problem, we're thinking solution, 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 trigger point into the market, solution, solution, and where they want to go. I just find when I focus on the possibility and I put up those guardrails, oh boy, do we get good information on the other side. So what keeps you up at night? If you use these questions, not understanding what your customers' pain points are, and then you are then empowered. You look, so then you ask these questions of a few people, start to see trends and opportunities. It's gonna, light bulbs, aha moments are gonna happen in a big way when you start to ask questions in this way, because you're really starting to think about your no shit solution and answer to the market, and in a way that then you're able to very easily follow up with people in a transaction way, because you've oriented them for that. So thank you so much for your time and attention. I hope that this was helpful. Share any aha moments that you have. If you had any questions or you're about to do any customer interviews, give these a go. Let me know your results. And of course, always let me know your burning marketing questions. I'm here every Thursday at noon. Well, almost every Thursday at noon Mountain Time to answer them. And please know that there is someone in Denver, Colorado who is 100,000% rooting for you. So take care. So good to see you. Thanks, Raphael, for hopping on. And I will see you guys all next week. Take it easy. Bye-bye.